and welcome to the AgriBusiness Global Report. My name is Sarah Webb, and I'm editor of AgriBusiness Global and host of today's show. In this segment, I speak with Alexandre Quesada, CEO of SmartTox, about new products entering Brazil, the potential risk of oversaturation, and more. Thanks for joining. Alexandre, thank you so much for joining me today. Can you discuss the current situation with new products coming into Brazil? Which products are getting the most traction, and what's kind of driving this flood of products entering the region?
Right, I tried to answer all of them, Sarah, in separate ways. Okay, so Brazil reached a historic milestone in 2025, recording the highest number of new products approvals ever. According to the Crop Life and MAPA, 560 new chemical pesticides and 139 new biological products were approved, so, completing 699 new products. The large volume shows a more dynamic regulatory environment and confirms the country as one of the most attractive markets globally. However, a closer look reveals that truly groundbreaking innovation is still limited. About 95% of the chemical pesticides registered in the year are generic, means that our molecules already validated in the market. Only 6 new registrations were for completely new technical products, and 22 were new formulated products with innovative molecules. The entry of new products, especially generic herbicides that have lost their patents, is constant dynamic that creates strong competition. The validity of these non-premium products depends strictly on competitive production costs and sales volume, as profit margins as trigger. The biological segment, the innovation scenario is more promising, although it's still concentrated in microbiological agents, accounted for 87% of the new biological products registration. An interesting fact is that Brazil has already registered 277 biological products using only 2 strains of microorganisms, which highlights a massive unexplored potential in Brazil biodiversity. Uh, Concerning the question of gaining more space in the market, the Brazilian market is going through a clear transition where different products profiles take the lead depending on the strategy adopted. Biological products, chemical mixtures, or low-cost generics. Biological products represent a fast-growing frontier. The biological market already generates between 5.5 to 6 billion annually in Brazil. According to Ampeview, Association of Biological Products back here in Brazil, the pesticide sector shows an average growth of 25% per year, while inoculants grows over 16% annually. Um, in the chemical market, the insecticide plinozolin and double and triple mixtures are the products gaining the most market share currently, responding directly to the problem of resistance which has in the market. When looking into the economy, the products gains traction are those with an adequate cost for the farmer. It's not that it's not obvious that more expensive and newer products will naturally gain market share. Often, large multinationals use the strength of their portfolio to push other commodities in commercial package along with the new technologies. And what drivens the entry of other products in the region? The flood of new products in the Brazilian market is driven by a combination of regulatory, economic, and agronomic factors. There is a crucial differential. There's a crucial difference between Brazil market like the US and Canada. For example, in US and Canada, You need to pay to use the data for somebody else's company's data. In Brazil, you have the figure of equivalence registration, where you can use this, some other company else data and you don't need to pay a penny for that. The main technical driver is the lack of control from traditional products. When farmers realize the conventional management of loss is effectiveness, they actively seek new solutions, opening space for new molecules, complex mixtures, and biological products. There is a growing demand of food produced with less environmental impact. Producing 1 kilogram of chemical pesticide can emit between 20 to 25 kilograms of CO2 equivalent, while the same amount of biological product generates only between 3 to 5 kilograms. The huge difference in carbon footprint attracts massive investments to the biological sector.
Okay, and Alexander, in your opinion, is there a risk of oversaturation of these products in Brazil?
Yes, there is a saturation in the market if you think about the conventional pesticides, where you have the same pesticides, the same uh, um, you have the same molecules, and they are doing uh, mixtures or double or triple mixtures and very few new molecules. So today 7 to 8% of the Brazilian market is concentrated in six largest companies. The saturation in some, if you are talking about the product, does not exist because that will not come out from the market. But if talking about registrations, you see that there is a lot of registrations available in the market. And if you talk about the amount of registration, yeah, that can be true. The saturation can exist. But also that saturation is not impacted by the biological market. The risk of saturation in the short and medium term is very low. Biological control represents about 12% of the crop protection market in 2025, with projection to reach up to 50% by the year 2015. 2050. Furthermore, the use of biologicals is still highly concentrated in soybean crops. There is a vast blue ocean for expansion in crops such as corn, sugarcane, cotton, beans, and fruits. So the biological products is very far to saturation concerning the markets. But if you consider the chemicals and the amount of registrations that you have available in the market, yes, you can think about it.
Is there anything else that you would like to add, Alexander?
Yes, I would like just to say that beyond the statistical data, success in this dynamic market depends on the quantitative factors, right? So discover market gaps where you can find new opportunities, new targets that you need to innovate some products, invest in access and the reach the market because it make no sense that you have a very good product but you don't know how to access the market, and the relationship and after sales, the relationship that you have that you need to have with the producer is very important to access the market, and also with the all value chain in order to succeed in the Brazilian market.
Thank you so much, Alexander, for joining me. We really appreciate all of those insights. Thanks again for tuning in to this episode of the AgriBusiness Global Report. I'm your host, Sarah Webb. Until next time.